Soundcast.
This is a Village Soundcast Network original production.
This is Less Than Live with Kate or Die, a bi-weekly podcast about comics from all angles. I'm going to talk to you about what I'm reading and doing in the industry, as well as interviewing some of my friends and favorite creators. So come along with me on this journey into geek culture. On today's show, Ming Doyle and Ollie Masters of Vertigo's wicked new crime series The Kitchen are here for an interview. I sing a terrible country song about our new merch, and hell, I got a Bitch Planet tattoo. Let's get to it. Well, hi everybody. It's me, Kate, your friend that likes comics so much with you. We are recording the show a little bit in advance of when it's coming out. Kind of the same thing we did last time because I keep running away to the West Coast and hanging out in the sunshine and not recording podcasts. So at the time of recording, it is still early to mid-February. And when you're listening to it, it's probably mid to late February. And I have got to tell you some very exciting things have happened. Primarily, we were on Podmass. What? Like, how cool is that? It is a thing that I have only ever heard other podcasts talk about, and I have thought about it as a mythic, unattainable goal, much like some sort of amulet or God-given token of unceasing youth or something. I kind of lost it on that one, but you know what I mean. We were on Podmass on the AV Club, which is a huge honor. I'm very appreciative. Everyone at the studio is very appreciative, and it is always exciting to hear people talk about just how great this podcast sounds, because these gentlemen of Village Sound really do make me sound much better than I am. They're cheering right now. So thank you everyone, and thank you to the AV Club for writing about us. That was awesome. It gave us a really cool little bump. And yay! So thank you to everyone. We are now heading into, what is this, episode 16? We're moving along. We're chugging along. We're getting into it and figuring this thing out. So to everyone who has recommended us, who has subscribed to us, who's reviewed us, recommended to themselves. I don't know. I kind of went there twice. Thank you. Not a lot to talk about in terms of my own stuff and comics. Bravest Warriors 29 and the 4th issue of Edward Scissorhands were out this month. It's not as much stuff for me right now because I'm kind of gearing up to work on some more projects. I am starting to write something of my own, which is really, really exciting, and the next Adventure Time book. So I am knee-deep in research about the various characters of OO right now, picking that back up. It's been so long. So I'm in full writer mode, and yeah, when you're listening to this, I'm back in California and doing all that stuff and finally playing Dragon Age again, thank God. Gravity Falls is back, and that is the greatest. Steven Universe has new episodes right now, and that's the greatest. Because I'm a big comics fan, but I am a huge cartoon fan, and it is so exciting that we are sort of past that dead winter spell, and they are on the air again, and there are new Bob's Burgers for me. So, hooray! That's kind of it. We do have some more exciting news, and I did something really embarrassing to share it with you. Oh, monkey's gotta climb, fish gotta swim, parrots love to perch. We're all broke as hell, so we made some merch.
Y'all come back and buy a shirt now here.
See what I mean when I said embarrassing? We do, though, have merch. People have asked for it. We have asked for it. We have wanted it. I don't really know how many people have asked for it, but we have merch now. I designed some shirts that you can now buy from my personal store on Topatoco. That's, can I spell Topatoco right away? Let's see if I can do it. Topatoco, Topatoco. It's like a potato, but not quite. I had my own store on there for my comics for Kate or Die, and Less Than Live is kind of crouching in there for a minute. We might end up with our own shop. These things do evolve as time goes on. But if you would like a t-shirt to demonstrate just how much you love this show, just how cool and nerdy you are, and possibly lock eyes with someone across the bar wearing the other shirt, because there are two, and then eventually raise your children listening to this podcast. So if that is a thing that is of interest to you, even if you are not a person who intends on breeding, you should check out our merch, our shirts at topatoco.com. It's under Kate or Die. Pretty easy to find. You can look up Less Than Live and you will find them. They are currently on pre-order. They might be past that by the time you're listening to this, but they're great. I tried really hard to venture away from black t-shirts, even though all I ever wear is black t-shirts, and I got as far as dark navy blue and dark gray. So I don't know how to not be goth. So you can join me in that and wear my face on your boobs or chest or whatever. We also have 1-inch pins. One of them is my face. One of them says Less Than Live. They come as a set. And right now, the only way that you can get them is by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/lessthanlive. I believe that is at the minimum $5 amount. Am I correct about that? It might. We don't know. We're working on it. But the info will be there by the time you hear this. And it comes on a cute little card. So if you're into that and you would like some pins or you would like a shirt, look up those things, topatoco.com or patreon.com/lessthanlive. Thank you to everyone who has gotten us to the point where we need merch. That is very exciting and we are thrilled. Let's get to some recommendations.
What is Kate reading?
What am I reading now?
What is Kate reading?
What am I reading now? So as I mentioned before, and we'll mention later again in the interview, we are recording this one early. But the week that this arrives to you, it will have already been, or is about to be, February 18th. Do you like how I just kind of play with time like that? I like to keep everybody on their toes. But Wednesday, February 18th, a lot of comics are coming out. So I'd like to, fully recommend them to you, although I can't 1,000% predict psychically if they'll be great, although I think they're all a pretty safe bet that they're going to be awesome. So we're going to do it a little bit differently, and I'm going to tell you what I am going to pick up, and then hopefully when you're reading this, you can go, oh, wow, she predicted this was going to be great. I should go see if she was right. So for February 18th, a day when I will be on a plane for 12 hours, I am picking up Batgirl number 39 because Batgirl is great and so much fun, and the costumes on every character are my favorite thing, and Babs Tarr is a beautiful genius, and so is Brendan Fletcher, and so is Cameron Stewart. Bitch Planet number 3, because it is the greatest. And this one I can tell you I have already read, and I got to the end of this issue, which is the history of Penny Roll, which is one of the main characters in Bitch Planet. It is drawn by Robert Wilson IV, if I'm getting that right. I hope that I'm not. And it kind of takes a little side story to talk about that character and where she came from. And if you've been thinking about picking up Bitch Planet, the cool thing about it is that every third issue is going to be drawn by a separate artist just for that one issue to talk about the backstory of a different character. So issue 6, issue 9, issue 12, etc. And then the 2 issues in between are going to be continuing the main story. So in this one, Penny Roll, it's so good. It's so good that the second or within 5 minutes of finishing reading the advanced preview, I booked a tattoo and got myself a non-compliant tattoo. So I have a Bitch Planet tattoo now. It is my first modern comics tattoo because I do have a Watchmen one, which not a lot of people know. But it was that good. The comic was so good, I went and got a tattoo. If I can't sell you with that, I don't know what I can say. Also on the 18th, Deadly Class number 11. That series is still really great. I still really hate the bad guy. Not like he's a great villain, but like he's super gross. But the main characters are enough to keep me interested and really invested in the story. So that's very cool. The art's still amazing. Lumberjanes number 11, I believe, is out, so that's always a treat. Miss Marvel number 12 is a late Valentine's issue because the cover is very Valentine's themed, but it's out after Valentine's. But we all know that comic schedules are really more like guidelines anyway. Miss Marvel never fails, so you can always pick that up and enjoy it. Rumble number 3 is out. Really into that series, kind of modern mythology, supernatural, boy being chased by demons story. Loving the art still, so that one's really great. And She-Hulk number 12. I don't know for sure if this is going to have been out. I think it is. I don't even want to I don't even want to think about it because it's the last issue of the series. And I know that She-Hulk is coming back in A-Force, which is going to be amazing because it's written by Marguerite Bennett and G. Willow Wilson. Could there possibly be a better team to write an Avengers book that is female characters? No. And it's amazing that exists, and it's so awesome. But I really am going to miss this series and everything about it. She-Hulk is so great. So all of those are things that you should pick up, or you should, I stand by it. You should pick them up. And that's pretty much it. I am definitely behind on my comics. There are definitely a lot of things that I need to catch up on and read. I'm hoping that some downtime in California is going to mean that. But Dragon Age. Anyway, we've got a really awesome interview coming up with Ming Doyle and Ollie Masters of the Kitchen, so let's get along to that.
Are you ready for this? Kate needs attention, needs a push, needs some Prada. Kate wants a yacht to party with kaiju in the water. Needs some Gucci and Armani, she's a real fashion monster. So have a listen to our sponsor.
In case you haven't heard, Less Than Live has launched a Patreon. If you want to know what that is, good news, I'm going to tell you. A Patreon is a monthly subscription service or kind of a crowdfunding platform where if you like this show, you can support it financially with money, which is really great because this show it costs a little bit of money to make. We do it in a real recording studio, and the guys here make those amazing songs. And everything that I'm saying right now, you can watch me say better and with video on the actual Patreon page. It is patreon.com/lessthanlive. And there you can find out what it's all about. So pretty much you can choose an amount of money, if you're interested, to pledge to us monthly. And for those specific amounts of money at different levels and different amounts, you will get different rewards. You can get a voicemail message from me. You can subscribe to get a biannual package of goodies and swag. You can have advanced access to what guests we're going to have on the show, to ask questions, and these things are going to change and develop as we go along, and we're going to invent new things, and I just really want to make it kind of a cool, interactive, behind-the-scenes experience, and to show, people who do subscribe and who do support the show a little bit extra, and get you all involved. So you can check that out, again, at patreon.com, that's patron with an E in it, /lessthanlive, and donate a little bit of money. If you want, that'd be cool.
Kate's gonna interview you. Kate's gonna interview you now. She's gonna ask you questions. Kate's gonna interview you. Kate's gonna interview you now. This is the interview section.
All right, so we're back this week again with another creative team, which is becoming one of my favorite things. And this week we are talking to both the writer of and artist of Vertigo's The Kitchen, which is a miniseries crime story that I am super into and I've talked about on the show a bunch before. So we're here with Ollie Masters and Ming Doyle. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, Kate.
Hi, how are you?
I think we're both very well.
Yeah, we're both very good.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yes. Would you categorize us as more good or well, Ollie?
I'm good and well.
Oh, well and good. All right.
I would say that you're good and doing it well.
Oh, very good. All right. Continue. Now that we're all very positive.
Yes.
Happy to talk about The Kitchen with you, Kate, on your show.
I'm so happy for you guys to be on. I have talked about it a bunch, and it was one that even before I did the first episode where I mentioned it, some people who follow the show were like, "You have to read this," and I was like, "I know, I just haven't done an episode yet."
The script is so good; it's amazing.
So good.
That's absolutely why I was interested in it. It's like unlike anything else I've ever read. It's so cinematic.
Yeah,
I almost feel guilty drawing it as a comic book because I'm like, oh, this should be on HBO. But I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can.
Well, I don't think
You're killing on it, Ming. You're making it look perfect.
Oh, you, Ollie, you.
So because I would probably
You'll have to excuse us. We don't. This is like our third time talking.
This happens a lot. Every time I talk to creators, they're like, "Yeah, we've never spoken, really."
Yeah, it's our third time, so I'm like all giddy hearing everyone's voices.
And also, the first time I met you, I had the worst hangover I think I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah, you were very gray.
Where was it? Was it at Thought Bubble?
Yeah,
Yep.
That was a wild guess.
it's our first meeting with Will as well, wasn't it? Before the book even got signed off on.
It
like,
was.
very
Yeah.
interesting.
And is Will your editor?
Yeah, Will Dennis, the incomparable Will Dennis.
I took a wild guess. I feel really good about
Surly
that.
guy. Yeah, you're great. Your instincts are on key. Wonderful.
So you guys met there and kind of just decided to work on it together, or Ollie, did you pitch to Ming?
Yeah.
Or... Yeah.
Oh.
I'd been speaking to Will a bit before about doing something together. With me and working with Will, and when the kitchen came up, and then we got Ming on board. Met pretty soon afterwards, and it all kind of.
I was pretty excited. It was wonderful because actually, when you guys approached me, you already had pretty much all of the book written.
No,
And so
I think
you had a lot of it. You had many issues written, and not only that, but on like third and fourth drafts, which is so rare in comic books to get something that's been like looked over that much and given that much thought to. I was just like, I'm touching gold. I'm looking gold, and it's in my hands. So it was really a treat to do that. It was very nice.
That was my naivety coming into the book, because I thought when you're pitching a book, you need 2 issues already written before you even speak to anyone. So
yeah, Kate, do you have thoughts on that? That's not my experience either.
No,
in how comic books work.
I'm pitching something right now that has 3 pages of script.
Oh, wow.
And,
You're ahead of the game. In my opinion. Yeah.
And only the 3 pages of script because the artist needs them to do some spec pages, basically. But it was mostly just a 1-page pitch.
Yeah, Ollie, that's usually how this stuff rolls.
Yeah.
People just get together and they're like, hey, this is a great idea. Let's just throw this. Oh, it's approved. All right, now we're just doing it. We're doing it nonstop now. But when you came to me with the kitchen, Will was like, yeah, I've been working with this writer for months now, almost a year, and he's got a lot of talent, and I've been workshopping the scripts with him, and then I got them, and it was like The Kitchen #1 5th draft or something. It was like the document title. I was like, my God in heaven.
I have stuff that's gone to print that never hit a 5th draft, so that's pretty amazing.
A 2nd draft is like, you are doing great.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think I was on 2nd or 3rd draft before it even got to Will. So
Wow.
Yeah. That was your naivete. You're like, I have to be prepared for this industry.
by the 8th issue, I think it was down to I think the 8th issue was just 1 draft.
Wow.
So I got better as I went along.
It's because you're a pro now.
Yeah. Yeah. The further you get into it, the less revision. Well, my boyfriend's the same way. He's like working on a thing and has a script and shows it to me, and I'm just like, this is so much more polished than anything I've ever submitted. And it's just like, it's his first thing. And it's so funny to me. I'm like, oh, sweetie, he works so hard.
Oh, I know.
Which is so great. So Ollie, because this is definitely the first time I've ever asked you this question, how would you describe the kitchen?
The kitchen is about 3 Irish mob boys in 70s Hell's Kitchen in New York. It's about their husbands going to jail and the wives taking over their gang.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's
just
great.
Like that. That's it. And they're brutal and they're fashionable.
They are very fashionable.
Say again?
So they're very fashionable.
Yeah, well, that's down to me.
I know. It is, because I like clothes. That's what I bring to every comic.
You know what, though? I feel like there's something that's not really spoken about in comics. So I know nothing about fashion at all.
Yeah.
Half the reason why I'm glad I'm not an artist, but...
you know what? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, but it makes it just... Not only because it's a period piece, but also just the way you've clothed the different characters, it speaks to their personality so much more than I think you get sometimes, and I think it goes a long way.
Oh, thank you so much, Ollie. I love it. I do like acting like a costuming department sometimes in comics. And you know what I like about especially period costuming is that I find that, decade by decade, clothes really kind of almost even change body shapes and silhouettes. And that's something you don't think about so much. But I've seen some comics that were set in the 70s and 80s and they looked a little more modern. And I realized it's because the pants weren't high enough and they weren't creating that nice belly pooch
Yeah.
that
Well,
a lot of those pants in the
Sometimes I think that when people are drawing that stuff, they're basing it off of like the costume versions of that. Like when you think of like you
No,
go
you
to
gotta-
draw something from the 80s and you think of someone dressed in an 80s costume, but not what they really.
Yeah, you got to base it
wore.
on pictures of your mom. That's what you got to do.
That's what I think. Like Wet Hot American Summer. Like the movie is so amazing because it's like, oh yeah, that's so accurate because it's so simple. Like it's just like that is what people wore, not like crazy exaggerated
I'd
versions.
say it's like you haven't like gone overboard on it. It's not like everyone's wearing flares and it's like look like the front cover to Saturday Night Fever.
Mm-hmm.
There is more of a realism. It's not a like a parody of the 70s.
So, I mean, two questions on that front. I mean, neither of you or myself, obviously, were in their 30s in the 70s in Hell's Kitchen. So, Ollie, what, I mean, books, movies, stuff like that, did you kind of look to get that voice right? Or what was kind of the inspiration there?
I mean, probably the biggest inspiration, I know it wasn't made in the 70s, but the biggest was Goodfellas. That's like one of my favourite films of all time.
Very nice.
We shine through. But then 70s cinema, like stuff like The Conversation, Godfather, Mean Streets, obviously. Just, yeah, and also just like, there's a thing with, sorry, brain just went weird there. There's a thing as well with like comics dialogue. It's not how people actually sound. It's just got to kind of look right.
Yeah.
So even when I was trying to kind of like get that kind of, 70s New York accent in there, I tried not to, I think at some points I maybe did overdo it a bit, but try not to overdo it too much.
I don't
No,
think
you
you've
didn't.
overdone it, yeah. Because, I mean, I'm really picky about that stuff when I read it. Like, I get so jarred by stuff that doesn't sound the way people really talk. And reading through it, like, you can hear the accent, especially all the, like, feckin'. Like, you hear it,
Yeah.
Which I think is really great.
Yeah. Ballsy, brassy Irish lasses. I love it.
Oh, yeah, it's totally the dialogue. I feel like it's movie, but it's believable. Which
Yeah.
is hard to do in something that could be easily like very over the top.
For sure.
So the second part of that question, Ming, is what did you look at? What's your fashion inspo for the kitchen?
Yeah, well, obviously, yes, for the kitchen, for life. I obviously also did a lot of movies. Why are you looking at me? Because I have a fashionable life. That's why. Yes, correct.
Yes. Well, the fashion in it's so great.
I watched a lot of 70s movies on Netflix and like and that kind of stuff.
Because I really enjoyed.
I also another thing I did is my mom's.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying. I just looking at number 4. I'm obsessed with that orange top that has like the cutout bell sleeves.
Yeah. No, that's awesome because I just drew that way, and then Jordi Belair, our amazing colorist, was like, "Hey, I colored this totally flame iridescent. I don't know why you just draw tops so weird that I thought I'd go crazy." And I was like, "What a compliment! What a compliment! That's exactly what I wanted."
Oh, she's amazing.
But, yeah, she's great. Yeah, no, my mom's a reference librarian, so she pulled a bunch of coffee table and photo books of
so cool.
older New York for me when I was doing this. Yeah, and I just had them all spread out and I took tons of pictures and I shared a gigantic Dropbox folder with the production team. I was like, look at all these weirdos from olden times.
That's so cool.
We have emails and emails and emails full of reference photos and videos and wherever we can find.
Yeah, Will and Greg, Will especially, our editor Will Dennis was really great at that. Whenever he found like an older documentary about the music scene, or he even sent us like a 10 or 15 minute documentary about like pimps and prostitutes from Times Square back then. That was Greg. That was Greg who did that. Greg Lockhart, our assistant editor. Yeah, it was great. It was like just tons of reference material flying fast and very.
Yeah, I don't know. Did I ever send you? I found found someone's home videos from when they'd like gone from wherever to New York in the 70s.
No, that's creepy. Maybe you did send them to me, but I ignored them.
It was just on YouTube. Like I was just typing in 70s New York and found it, and kind of I was watching through, and it was kind of cool for reference stuff, but also kind of creepy watching someone else's.
I get really melancholy watching people's home videos.
Yeah,
they're the worst.
They weren't recording people they knew in it. It was just sights and things like that.
That's good. That's nice. Yeah. No, it's lovely. It's obviously hard to project your mind's eye into a time and place where you've never been, but it's also just kind of a fun exercise. You know, I can't talk like, oh, I'm such an amazing visual expert. Like when I was drawing the kitchen, I was running it by tons of eyes behind scenes, and I was like, oh, because I don't live in New York either. I live in Boston. I was like, how does this look? What's wrong with this? And I was getting actually Declan Shalvey, Jordy's partner. Actually, I gave it the first issue to him to critique because I was like, I feel like something's just kind of off about this, and I don't really know what it is, and you have to help me, Declan, help. And he looked at it and he was like, you know what's wrong with this book? And I was like, oh, everything, I have to redraw it, don't I? And he said, no, there's not enough trash on the streets. Just put piles of trash everywhere. And I was like, you're right.
That's
New York
so true.
Is still dirty today, but it was dirtier then.
That's true, because Boston's really not, I mean, a little bit, but every time I go there, especially in downtown, I'm always struck by that it's cleaner than most big cities.
It is. I mean, you know, it does have its own kind of level of baked in grime just because we're the oldest city in the U.S. So a lot of our architecture and cobblestones and everything are just kind of cruddy. But we're very respectable people. We're almost Canadian. We're almost Canadian in our level.
You're
of
almost there.
cleanliness.
You're both kind of, I mean, you sort of bookend me in a way because Nova Scotia's right out there in the ocean in the middle.
Yeah. Where we meet in the middle, there lies Caitlin.
Yeah. It's very true. Specifically, I don't have too many questions other than I'm enjoying this so much.
I am too. I don't want it to end. I'm very sad. I'm drawing our last 2 issues. They're all wrapped up by Ollie, and I just really don't want to finish drawing them.
I feel like I keep going through so many endpoints with this. Like I finished the last script like some point last year.
Yeah.
And then did revisions on it this year. But like it was just because we added 2 extra pages, don't you, Ming?
Oh, it's 22 pages?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm halfway through. I'm a bad artist in that when I'm laying out a script, I do it page by page. I don't read the whole thing first to get an idea of the entire...
Oh, my God.
Oh, God, I'm so bad. I should be like, yes, I read it all perfectly.
No, I think a lot of people work that way.
I decide what is important at the end. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is what I started. I would write my scripts for the longest time, and I would write it like a book, so there's like a reveal in a panel, and then I realized like that's so annoying for an artist. Like I need to tell them, okay, you have to put a cup here because it's going to show up again on page 18.
Yeah.
Like instead of being like, and there's the cup we saw before. Which
if you want something to be included in your
that.
script, you have to mention it right there.
It took me a while to come around to, but I don't know how extensive your scripts are, Ollie. I'm always so curious how other people work and like how long they are, and if they're like really, really, really detailed, or if Ming, you kind of have free reign that way.
I think they probably got less detailed as it went on because I mean, most people would notice this is like my first proper book.
Mm-hmm. But definitely not your last.
Yeah,
for sure. I hope so.
No, for sure, definitely not.
For sure.
I'm kidding.
For sure, Ollie. For sure.
But yes, I think kind of I got more confident as I went on, and I got more confident working with Ming as well. Like, you start to like just develop a shorthand if you know what someone can draw and you know how they're going to draw it, and that made it a lot easier. Yeah. But my view of it always was, I don't mind if the artist changes things around. In fact, I'd kind of prefer it if it makes their art look better and it serves the story. So even if it's quite a densely packed description. It's up to the artist's interpretation, as long as they're kind of getting the feel of what I want across.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Ming. I mean, compared to other scripts you've done, would you say are they long scripts mine, or?
Oh, no. I mean, well, not exceedingly so. I mean, I've worked with some artists that are so brief in their scripts that it's like they could almost get 3 pages worth of script on one Word document page.
Oh, wow.
And that's like, that is brief. That's hard.
Yeah.
But I would say that your scripts aren't brief. I just say they're just like the book itself. They're bitingly terse and to the point. But suffused with atmosphere. They're wonderful.
That's a very good way to put it.
I've read other scripts, and like when there's like little messages to the artist.
Yeah.
Like I've tried to do that, but it always kind of, I don't know, always felt kind of weird and a bit.
Yeah, you don't have to. Actually, once or twice I have seen you be like, Ming, you can do this. And I'm like, oh, he's talking to me.
I love doing that. That's one of my favorite things to put in scripts is just little like...
Yeah.
I very frequently in anything that I write, which always doing these podcasts is weird too, because it's like, oh, I also do this.
It's like we all work in the same industry. Or
I know,
baffling
something
like that.
It's so weird. But I do them, and I ask about the script thing because mine are so different depending on what I'm working on. Like
Right. Yeah.
Scissorhands are really long, like it's almost a page of script to a Word document page. Like they're fairly descriptive. But Bravest Warriors, there's some pages where I know Ian so well and he knows me so well, and if he's got a question, he'll just text me. So it's just kind of like they fight. There's a monster. Chris says butts.
Figure it out, Marvel style.
Figure it
Pow.
out. And I write stuff to him in that a lot. But I think on at least twice in every issue of Scissorhands, there's just a thing that's like, Drew, I don't know, do whatever you want with this. And I think that's really fun. Like that's a thing that I love to read in people's scripts. It's neat.
I think I'll definitely get more like that as I go on.
Yeah.
But I don't know what my approach is to it. It's just kind of how it came along.
Well, you have a very good naturalistic style of storytelling, and it shows in the scripts too. And you're for sure going to be writing a lot more stuff.
Oh yeah, I believe it. Do you have anything? I mean, do you have anything planned post kitchen?
I've got a few things, but I can't.
Oh no. I never expect anyone can talk about anything that they're doing.
But you're gonna work with me again someday, right, Ollie? Because we're the best.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's right.
You guys are the best.
Well, you're going to be a superstar soon, so.
Yeah. So I mean, I took my time because, of course, we want to get the meat of this show is the kitchen. But Ming, congratulations on taking over DC Comics.
Yes, thank you.
You run it now.
Aren't you
It's
writing
me.
every book? Writing and drawing
No. Oh my God. I thought well, it's ridiculous because, I'm co-writing Constantine: The Hellblazer with James Tynan IV. And then I'm drawing Dark Universe, which James is writing. So I'm co-writing on one book and I'm drawing on another. And I was like, oh, that's a lot. And when I showed up at the DC Talent Conference, everyone was like, Ming, you're out of control writing and drawing. That's ridiculous. You're a wild card. And I was like, yeah, I'm rough and tough and tumble. And then they showed us a slideshow that basically went over all the different new titles that were going to be coming out in the June wave and all the creators. And I realized there is somebody who is in charge of DC Comics, and that is writer Cullen Bunn. Cullen Bunn is writing like 8 books.
Well, the thing that, I mean, when I interviewed Marguerite Bennett on here the last time and discovered that she writes 8 titles a month. She writes 8 comic issues a month. I mean, I get stressed out at anything more than 3. I'm just like I'm going into the next month having to write 3 issues and start writing a graphic novel, and I'm like, I'm going to die.
That's ridiculous. I've never written a full length comic book script ever before. Actually.
Oh, well, you have so many people you can talk to.
Yeah, and I mean, also co-writing it with James is really helpful since he's a hardened DC veteran.
I can't even imagine what co-writing would be like. I think I'm a bit of a control freak with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine to edit. Like, I love being edited, and there's several scripts I've written that I've had to like start over, basically.
Yeah,
but that's gotta be such a weird.
We haven't written a full script yet, but it's been really great for bouncing ideas off of each other. I will say that is really nice.
That's
What's
very
going to
cool.
be your approach? Like, I mean, do you both just bounce ideas off, then you go away and write, or are you going to write together?
Yeah, well, right now I'm breaking down our first 5-issue arc with like our major plot points, and then I was talking to Becky Cloonan a lot about co-writing too, because she co-writes, of course, with on Gotham Academy,
And also does those amazing covers for the kitchen.
Yes, Becky Cloonan, light of my life. She's so amazing.
She's my dream queen.
Yeah, and she was saying that, you know, she just breaks her scripts down in half. So she'll like write the first 10 pages and Brendan will write the other 10. And I was like, oh, that's smart. But we might even do kind of a like a scene by scene approach. Mm-hmm. But, you know, in this modern day and age with Google Docs and instantaneous cloud sharing, I feel like it's a lot easier to have something out in the open to workshop with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to fax or FedEx scripts back there. Yeah, and we've basically James and I so far, all we've done really is either write exceedingly long emails to each other with all of our thoughts on the character, or attach just Google Docs that got out of control.
Yeah.
It's bad. We have to find a way to streamline it. I'm gonna have to take a lot of terse cues from you, Ollie.
But that's really fun. So you're moving into scripting kind of
a little bit,
for the
hopefully.
first time.
Yeah, that's the hope. I hope that I hope it's good and that people enjoy it. And of course, I'm filled with terror and woe and excitement as well.
Of course,
so,
that's what always happens when you start a project.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, last time I wrote a comic, it was in high school.
Well, because I was just going to ask that. Like, did you ever write for yourself?
Yeah, I did, unfortunately. I had a webcomic that I tried really hard to get off the ground, like my junior and senior year of high school, which I guess was like 99, 2000.
Right.
And I was so proud of myself. It was so cool. It was called Zero Sleep Beauty.
Ooh.
And it was a gender flipped version of the Sleeping Beauty fairy tale with other fairy tales in there. It was so cool. So Sleeping Beauty was a hot blonde boy, and his cool sister was Snow White, and she had to go and save him. And there was a forest full of tentacly thorns that were alive that would attack people. And I read a lot of manga, and it was awful. It was so bad.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
I felt really intense and like awesome. And actually, I don't know when Fables started, but I think it might have predated Fables. And I was on that crest. I knew it was going to be hot.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, Ollie, do you draw at all, or do you just come to this from writing?
I can't draw.
No.
I just realised, I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was about to say I can't draw for shit, and then so.
Oh, you can totally swear. On podcast.
No, I can't draw. My older brother, he's an artist. He's really good, and no, I can barely do stick figures.
Well, I always wonder about it because I think that the way that comics are made is changing so much, and it's becoming so intermedia because so many people I know both write and draw, or they do that and they do 10 other things. Whereas I think so long ago, like you were either a writer or an artist. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's just really neat. I mean, Ming, was it a decision for you? Like, I want to start writing, or was it kind of one of those organic, oh yeah, sure, I'll try this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess it was kind of a combination of the two, because I have always wanted to get back. I mean, I do enjoy writing. I do a lot of creative writing for myself and stuff. And I was always like, well, it'd be nice someday to get into that with comics. But yeah, I was very surprised that people started asking me to, pitch story ideas and to start writing, and when I hadn't put it out there at all that I wanted to do it. So it's just like, well, the fates have decided. Now I must do this thing.
That's very cool. I mean, it's neat for that to happen, and I'm really happy that it is happening, because I'm sure you're going to make it super sexy and fun.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've been one thing that James and I were talking about is honestly with I know you're supposed to pronounce it Constantine, like the tine of a fork, but you know what, Ollie, with your Britishisms, whatever, man, because I'm going to say what I want, and it doesn't matter because it's the written word, dude. Okay.
I went through a period where I'd read an Alan Moore interview, and he was saying about how to pronounce it. And
I know, tine like a fork.
Period where I kept saying Constantine. all
Yeah.
the time, and then just realize it's so unnatural to say.
I know. I just feel like such. What is the British word for how I feel when I put on the affectation to say Constantine, Ollie? Do I feel like a wanker? Is that what it is? I feel a little bit like a wanker when I try to. I'm like, Constantine, John.
Well, it sort of feels like being one of those kids that's going, it's actually manga.
Yeah.
It's manga. It's anime. It's very important that you know how to say this correctly.
I used to be one of those people, not with manga, but with food stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I lived with a chef who used to live in Spain. So I used to.
That must have been insufferable.
That's not how the Spanish pronounce that. You have to pronounce it like this.
Uh-huh.
And
So
then
what's
I
like an
realized how much
example?
wanker I was being. Oh, well, like chorizo.
What?
Oh, chorizo instead of chorizo because it's got that like sound.
Oh,
Like
that's
corazon instead of corazon. Yeah.
That used to
Interesting.
really piss off my wife when I told her she was pronouncing it wrong.
Interesting.
Every single time someone does one of those things, my instinct is to send them that gif of Hermione being like, it's Alohomora.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not Alohomora. What is it? It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Yeah. I run into that too. I say toiletries instead of toiletries.
What? Okay,
I
that's...
say toiletries, darling. I have my pinky up when I say it too. And I say produce, like the produce section where you get your fruits and vegetables. Apparently that's weird. I don't know. I also say, Kate, I have a question for you. Okay?
Yes, of course.
This is regional and totally off topic, but since I have you here on the line.
Yes.
Okay, I am half Canadian.
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
Yes, I have dual citizenship.
Oh,
And
you're
when
so
I was
lucky.
a little wee tiny bean, I lived in Oakville, right outside of Toronto.
Yes, I know
So
where that is.
here's my question for you.
Yes.
So I say garburator. Do you know what that is?
A garburator is like a trash disposal in a sink, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Do you know that, Ollie?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think it's a Canadian thing because
Okay.
whenever I say garburator, people are like, "What the hell did
Well,
you
because
just say?"
people think, isn't it like just garbage disposal in America?
I think it's just the disposal, or I've heard in the Boston area, incinerator.
What? That's really funny
It's
because
like the
of the pun.
incinerator. It's the incinerator, but it's the
That's so weird.
incinerator.
I have so many like that. I mean, I started about 2 years ago out of nowhere just because started saying like the grocery. Like I'm going to the grocery instead of like the grocery store. I'm going to go get some groceries. I'm always like, I'm going to the grocery. And it was like a weird, like this is funny if I say it, but then I did it so many times that now I genuinely just say it all the time. People are always like, that's so cute and charming. I'm just like, oh.
You're just pre-gaming to become a charming 65-year-old man.
That's what I've been gearing up for my entire life. I already love scotch. So
Scotch. Yes, it's lovely. I have
toiletries.
toiletries. I don't know.
I'm never going to get over that.
My mom says toiletries. My mom says toiletries, which is where I get it from. But also, she says skeletal instead of skeletal.
What?
And I think that's weird.
That is really weird.
Skeletal.
That's super weird.
All
Skeletal?
right. Skeletal. Like her skeletal hands reached across death's chasm for my face.
Skeletal. It's clearly skeletal.
That's what I thought too, but you know, I called my mom out on that when she said that to me because she was like, "Oh, he was such a skeletal guy," and I was like, "What did you just say to me?"
Well, my roommate, she for so long, like she gets very upset. Like any person, if you correct her spelling or grammar, nobody likes that. But the first couple years we were living together, she would always say finagle instead of finagle. Like,
Finagle.
I'm going to get like finagle us a deal, or like, I'm sure I can finagle that. And I think it was 2 years that we lived together before one day I just snapped. Which is like, it's finagle. There's no second N. And she was very much like, I think you can say it both ways. So I was just like, yep,
You can. At all. That is absolutely 1000% not a thing that's allowed.
But it's so funny that now I will say it too to people
Finagle.
that don't understand the joke at all.
I'm trying to work out whether I've ever finagle.
Finagle. It feels like
Finagle.
is it Yiddish?
Yeah, I think it's
origin?
Yiddish because, and I'm going to make a very possibly offensive assumption, but there's a chain around here called Finagle a Bagel.
Right. I've eaten there. That's true.
That sounds
And
like
every
something
time I
like
see it,
that.
I want to take a picture and send it to Jess. Is this finagle a bangle?
Yeah. It's Yiddish.
Yeah.
So you don't have finagle in England, Ollie?
I feel like I've heard it, but I don't think anyone I know has ever used it in a conversation ever.
Well, you're missing out.
Now you can be the first.
Yeah, I'm going to start dropping it.
You oughta finagle away into using it in your conversation.
Finangle it into your daily vocabulary.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Important finagle, though, not
Finangle. Just really start saying that a lot.
Would you guys be if I used the second N? Like, just completely started using it all the time, but mispronounced it all the time.
It'd be wonderful.
I think you should.
And it would be wonderful also if you're like, yes, my North American friends, Kate and Ming, are teaching me all of this good, authentic slang.
Yeah, I've still got letter passes on the kitchen. I can get that in there.
I think you
Finagle it
can.
in there.
Finagle it in there. Like they tried to kill us, but we finangled a deal out of this mobster. How did you finagle your way out of jail, Jimmy?
Oh, they fucked up. They fucked up. They don't know how to talk. They're gonna die. They can't broker a deal. They can't even talk.
Or like one of them just says it during a really serious meeting when everyone has guns up, and she's like, "Look, we tried to finagle our name back out onto the streets."
You have to stop saying that. I'm gonna pee. I'm gonna pee.
This is the greatest day of my life.
This is so unfortunate.
I also don't know why they have like deep man voices when I did that. Jimmy.
Jimmy, get over here.
That's just how I read it.
Something together.
Hey, Kath. We gotta finagle a deal.
Oh my god, I feel so uncomfortable. Yes, anyway, I hope you're taking notes, Ollie.
Yeah.
From your good friend Kate Leth, who is a professional writer.
I am a
And
professional
also,
writer.
she is a wordsmith. She's like the Shakespeare of our time.
Thank you, Ming, for recognizing the
coming
truth.
up with new words, left and right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Left and right, more like.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah,
good.
left and right.
It's a good word, don't worry.
Left and right. I'm going to
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
punch you in the face.
I have been spending too much time talking to Kieran Gillen, and it's rubbing off on me really badly.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
We actually, he and I have been exchanging emails every once in a while about how he and I want to do a book called Pun More Goth.
Oh, my God. You two are insufferable.
And then we're just like, Jamie will literally kill us. Like, he will murder us both.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
It's really bad. It's really, really bad. Oh,
I don't enjoy what you just said at all. It's so bad.
I'm sorry.
It's all right, Kate.
I didn't mean to
I
upset
forgive
you.
I still know who you are at the end of this. I'm not going to pretend I don't.
We don't ever have to speak again. That's fine.
Well, how are we going to avoid each other at all of the women in comics panels? It's going to be awkward.
I don't know what other panels we could ever be on.
What?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, how do you two feel about doing that?
I try not to do them anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I weirdly, I almost feel like it's hypocritical because it is basically the same thing, but I don't at all mind doing like the LGBT comics panels. Just because I think there is so much less representation in comics for, queer and trans people. And that's a thing that I'm doing and a thing that I am. So that feels fine. But I've turned down probably 6 women in comics panels in the last year.
I'm going to just start doing it because, I felt really torn about it, honestly, because a lot of the times that would be the only panel I was invited to speak at a show.
Yeah.
And so, especially if I was a guest at the show and they only put me on one panel and it's women in comics, I feel like, well, I want to fulfill the social contract with the convention having been invited. And,
it really is situation specific. Like, it depends.
Also, I think it says a lot when that's the only panel they're inviting you on, though.
Yeah,
it's like, well, I know what you want me for here.
Yeah,
exactly. I think that's what's kind of what makes them slightly uncomfortable in my eyes. Is that that's almost the only time you'll see. Well, it's changing now, but that's almost the only time you would have seen a woman in comics talking on a panel.
Yeah, it's really
like,
strange.
It's a declaration of it rather than it being a celebration of it.
Well, especially when you are, I mean, I'm a vocal person. I never know when to shut up on the internet. So people are always like, oh, you would be great on this panel. You always talk about women's issues, which is true. But then it does feel that way. And I mean, I've done them. It is like, again, situation specific. Like I'll do them at conventions where I'm also on other panels or when women I really like are on the panel. So it feels a little less tokeny. Because it does. I mean, it will feel like, oh, I'm checking off a box for you. And that's a little weird. But, you know, when I was at DICE in Ireland last year, it was the first time I was ever on a writer panel.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which made me feel so cool because I was up there with like all these people who...
DICE sounds like such a cool show, too, because, you know, they're DICE.
It is the greatest convention I think I have ever been to.
Oh, I'm
like,
so
hands
jealous.
down.
That sounds great.
And I'm going to Thought Bubble this year for the first time. And yeah, I'm so excited. I couldn't go last year financially. It was just like a little too much. But I'm saving up already. So I'm going to make it work.
I went the one time. That was my one and only trip to England / the UK. And it was awesome. Yeah, I totally would.
I hear
someday.
great things about the show. DICE was great. DICE is like, it's so small. But, you know, when I was there last year, it was like everybody I would want to hang out with. You know, Becky was there and Kami. Kieran and Jamie. Kami.
That's all right. I understand, Kate.
Kami was there. Just a ton of awesome people. And I made so many friends. Obviously met my boyfriend there, so it was amazing. But Declan and Jordy, and it was just like, it was great. It's the greatest. I love European shows.
Declan and Jordy are two of the greatest people in comics.
They're two of the greatest people on the planet, I think.
They're wonderful.
After me, after he thought I had a concussion. Thought bubble.
What? What?
Yeah.
How did you get a concussion?
Baby Ollie, what happened?
Well, it was the first convention I've been to since the Kitchen had come out. It was the weekend after the Kitchen had come out.
Right.
Come out on the Wednesday, so I was super excited. And I was meeting people like Jason Aaron and Scott Snyder and Lee Barmejo.
And
Side note, is Scott Snyder not the nicest dude on planet Earth?
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah,
but go on.
All of those guys. But yeah, so I just got absolutely trashed with all those guys and Will. And,
you got trashed with Will Dennis. Surprise, surprise.
I got very trashed with Declan Shalvey.
Declan was there as well.
Yeah, Declan can drink and he's like, fine. I don't understand him.
He was gone.
Oh.
We were all so far gone, and we were in the worst nightclub you will ever go to in your entire life. I couldn't work out where my hotel was. And I was just kind of sitting around aimlessly with them, got to their hotel and walked headfirst into a metal bar and just collapsed on the floor.
Oh, my God. Ollie.
And I think
Ollie, messed up.
That's so awful.
Then Declan just kind of like drunkenly picked me up and like put my arm around his shoulder and said, I've got a spare bed in my hotel room, and kind of just dragged me back to his hotel room and made sure I was still alive when I woke up.
He's so kind. Side note about that, Ollie, when I first hung out with you, we also got lost walking around. I think you have a shit sense of direction.
I definitely do.
No, there we go.
That's
mystery
fine.
solved. Hypothesis posited and confirmed.
I have a really bad sense of direction too, so that's fine. The first time that I met Chris Haley, it was that I was Ming. I don't even know if you were there at that point, but it was at Heroes. And we were walking around, and I was convinced he was leading us in the wrong direction, even though he'd been to the show like 4 years in a row, and I had never been there. And I was like yelling at him, being like, "You're taking us the wrong way!" And everyone was saying, "No, he's taking us the right way." And I got very incensed. But I was wrong.
That does sound kind of familiar.
Yeah,
I might have.
He probably told everyone about it the next day. I would not be surprised, nor would I blame him. I was awful.
Okay,
but yes. So Ollie, I empathize.
I think all the best writers are bad at direction.
Yeah, really bad. Constantly getting lost. We need artists to guide us.
Ming, you didn't know where you were going either.
Pardon?
You didn't know where you were going either.
Well, yeah, but I just figured since you lived on that continent, you would have an instinctual...
Well, Ming, do you know how to get everywhere in America?
Oh, God, yeah. Just drop me anywhere, and I'll Katniss Everdeen my way back home.
I think we just ended up following cosplayers.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we
useful.
did actually. Yeah, we saw a throng of cosplayers. We were like, follow those pink skirts.
That is incredible.
It's good all the time.
That's
We were
amazing.
so cold. It was so cold.
Yeah.
And I hadn't agreed to do the kitchen yet just because we didn't know how it was going to work out schedule-wise. So Ollie was like, I really hope that you maybe consider working with us. I think it would be really fun. And we were just shivering. We're walking by the side of this water feature that looked like a drainage pipe. I was like, we're going to fall in there and wash out to sea.
And this was the morning when
You were hungover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd just been through this meeting where it's the first meeting I'd ever had to do with creative.
Yeah, we met up with Will. We met up with Will, and then somehow the topic of ages came up, and Ollie, because you're quite young, and I told you at the time I was 28, and you're like, wow, I didn't know you were that old. And I was like, fuck you.
Did I say that?
You what?
Did I say that? Oh,
Yeah. I mean, and you obviously didn't even mean it at all. You're like, whoa, I had no idea you were that advanced in age.
Well, Ollie, how old are you?
I turned 27 like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
at the time he was 25, whereas I was creeping up on the dread pirate 30, which has been known to kill many a woman
Right.
and render her completely useless to
Yes.
society,
Or
as
at
we
least
all know.
uninteresting.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
How the hell did I get this book going?
I don't know, Ollie. You must have just skated through on your charm and wit, which was not in evidence that day. You were hungover.
I just try really hard not to meet anyone I'm working with until after they've already like signed a contract on the book.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, surprise, I'm really overbearing and
No,
loud.
not at all. You're charming. You're a charming princess, Caitlin.
Oh, you can come on this show anytime.
I know. Perhaps I shall.
Well, all right. Well, that is exciting to know. As we careen towards the calm and comforting ending of our program, do you notice how I got
NPR right
I got my
now.
Garrison Keeler on?
Yeah, you do.
Yes.
You did.
So Ming and Ollie, I like to conclude the program. No, I can't even talk that. That feels really weird. Generally, the thing that I do ask people before I get all your info so people can stalk you on the internet is, do you have any books or comics that you think people listening to the show should be reading?
Well, I'll go first since I've been mentally gathering them. I don't read many comics on the regular, but my friend and Somerville neighbor, Erica Henderson, is working.
Hero.
Yep, she's a hero. She's working on Squirrel Girl. It's highly adorable. You should get into it. My other neighbor, Joe Quinones, is drawing Howard the Duck with your best friend, Chippy Z.
He is my stepdaddy.
And yes, and that looks so charming, and I can't wait.
I can't wait to read that.
And also on the manga side of life, I picked up the first 3 volumes of this older manga, which I haven't read yet, but I'm looking forward to reading. And it's called Uku.
Oh.
Uku, The Inner Chambers, written and illustrated by Fumi Yoshinaga. And according to Wikipedia, the plot follows an alternate history of medieval Japan in which an unknown disease kills most of the male population, leading to a matriarchal society in which the Uku becomes a harem of men serving the now female shogun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
so
want to
it's
read
all-
that.
Yeah. So basically,
amazing.
yeah, it's great. So women take over Japan and, there are no men and they're like highly prized, cute little sexual reproduction flowers inside of their breeding pavilions or whatever. So I'm going to read that and let you know what I think.
That, I think you should let me know because that sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, I saw it on Amazon and I was like, I literally can't believe the synopsis I'm reading.
It sounds too good to be true.
I'm going to just go ahead and order 3 volumes in one go.
It sounds like the things that I am always pitching and people are like,
Yeah, don't you think that's a little outre? That's a little violently feminist, Kate.
Sorry. That's just me.
Apparently it was adapted into a live-action film in 2010. We should have a movie night the next time you're in the Boston area.
We should. I may be back there before the end of summer. I hope. I miss you guys so much. I miss Betty so much.
Oh yeah, don't miss me. I get it. I
said I miss you so. I said I miss you first. Calm down.
Yeah, you better miss me
I
first
miss you
in your
all
heart.
the time. I miss the whole Somerville crew. You're all
You better
perfect.
feel empty whenever I'm not with you.
Everything hurts. Everything hurts when I'm apart from
Ollie, what comics do you like?
I was just dropping out there, just letting you guys.
Well, that's how it should be, I guess.
Yeah.
You can come visit too, Ollie, if you want. Cattle over here.
A little bit more further for me to go. What comics have I been reading? Southern Bastards.
So good.
By the Jasons.
Ooh.
So good.
That's probably one of my favorite things I'm reading at the moment. Just everything about it's perfect.
I've heard awesome things about it. I haven't read
It's
it.
so
though.
beautiful. It's
Definitely
just
check
like
it out.
it's like an HBO version of Friday Night Lights, basically. It's
I
like,
still haven't seen that.
but with some supernatural element to it a little bit.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah,
it's ish, but not more kind of.
just a little bit, just a tingle. Not even. Yeah, I guess you're right. It's not as much as I kind of like expected because it does sort of hint you towards it early on.
I get what you mean, but it's almost like modern myth.
Yeah, that's more accurate. You're right. That's why you're the writer.
Let's see what else. Wicked and Divine.
And what? Sorry.
Wicked
What?
and the Divine.
Oh, Wicked and the Divine, of course.
Wicked and Divine. Sorry, you didn't call it Wick Div, so I didn't understand what you were saying.
Wicked by Kami.
By Kami.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna hate that. I'm so excited. Jamie McKelvey has been telling me for approximately 5 months that he will come on the show, and he cancels every time. So the next time you see him, shame him.
Going to gigs at cool venues, listening to his musics.
Sorry, you're friends with every musician, Jamie. But go on. Those are both very good choices.
I'm trying to think. Batgirl, Gotham Academy.
Yep.
All of those bat titles.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
So we basically read the same comics, Ollie.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's good.
By the sounds of it.
It's nice. You know, the weird, super dark, mature Image stuff and like the fun DC things that are good for teens. It's pretty much what I'm into.
I'm sure I'm missing out loads of really good stuff.
That's fine.
It's hard to stay on top of it, but there are a ton of upcoming comics I'm so psyched about, like Southern Cross with Becky Cloonan and Andy Belanger.
That's going to be amazing. She sent me a couple little pieces of art from that, and I am so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for the new Midnighter comic that's going to come out.
Oh, that looks just from that image they showed in the.
I know, with the blood and like the circular vertigo behind him. Oh,
it's one of those comics
looks
where
hot.
it's just, I wish that I could have written. I wish it was me. Yeah.
I feel like that all the time.
Yeah.
I wish you were writing it and I was drawing it, and it was great. Anyway, tons of good comics coming out. I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm. It feels like a really good time. There's a lot of stuff, and I'm just like, I can't wait for that. Which is it's so exciting. It's such a good feeling.
No.
It's really cool because like it seems kind of like Image just kind of in the last couple of years just went crazy with great stuff, and it's nice to see like the big two kind of catching up. But not catching up, but kind of
for sure.
reacting to it, you know?
And it really, I mean, they're acknowledging that. It's getting to that point where they're just like, yep, we are making changes. We are doing this. And it's so cool. Like when I already had so many things from Image that I was reading and excited about. Like more than half of my pull list for comics is Image. Just because it's some of the best stuff right now. And then when they had the Image Expo and started announcing stuff, I was just like, this isn't fair. I can't afford all of this.
Yeah.
Because what is it? Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang doing a series together.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Really?
It's called Paper Girls. It's
I
about.
have not even heard of this.
Oh, you should look it up. It's like it's a crime fighting team of like young teen paper delivery girls. There's not a lot of information about it.
Newsies? They're the girl newsies?
Yeah, but they're like warrior girls too. From what I could tell.
Magical newsy girls.
But yeah, Brian K. Vaughan writing it and Cliff Chang drawing it, and
oh my God, I'm so excited. My heart is beating fast.
Jeremy told me because I was in LA when he was at work, and we were both like following Image Expo on Twitter simultaneously, and he would hear about something 20 seconds before I would because I was working and he was working, and that was the one thing that I was just like, shit, really? How is that real? Those are two of my favorite people in comics.
Oh, that's so nice.
I didn't even really know the premise. I just saw they did that kind of one image for it. And
Yeah.
It's just Brian K. Vaughan, Cliff Chang, I was sold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
immediately. Just like, I don't care. And then Scott
like,
Snyder
sight
doing more
unseen.
stuff, so sure, I'll buy it.
And Cliff is one of the nicest people. I know I keep,
So
you keep saying
nice.
that with everyone in comics, but yeah.
Oh my God, he's so nice. I met him at, I think, actually at the DC party at New York Comic Con, and he told me that he listened to the podcast and I like spit out the food I was eating. I was like, no, what? Really? Oh my God.
Cliff.
Hi, Cliff. I don't know if he's never like tweeted about it or anything or like mentioned it to me since, but he's just like, oh yeah, I really like it. It's really fun. I'm just like, yeah, one of my favorite artists. Okay, bye. I have to go away. You know, it was one of those Becky taking me around and introducing me to people and being like, oh, and here's one of your idols, and here's someone you've been reading for 5 years, and here's someone you're obsessed with. And
That's what Thought Bubble last year was like for me.
Yeah.
Literally meeting practically all of my favorite writers and artists.
That's
well,
so cool.
that show is so well curated. It's such good people there. And I'm really excited to go this year. Really excited.
Yeah, tell me all about it. I want to have like an amazing blog post from you.
Oh yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. I want Jeremy to be able to come with me. I don't know if he can, but it would be so much fun. He's such a good booth babe. But
Booth beef.
booth beef.
Yeah, that's
is
what I
that
call
what it
Neil.
is?
Well, that's what I call Neil whenever he goes to
Oh
a show.
my
with me. He's my
gosh.
booth beef. He was my booth beef at Thought Bubble
That's amazing.
2013.
Jeremy's very good at it.
It was.
So that is amazing. I'd never heard that term before.
I don't think I've ever met your feller in real life.
No, I mean we've
So-
only really been dating since like last fall. So
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But-
but he's really great. He's best friends with Jordy, so he's good people.
Yeah, she has mentioned how much she likes that you are dating him.
Yeah, it makes me really happy. Every once in a while, she'll just send me a Twitter message and be like, "You're so cute," and it totally validates my life. So that's great.
She's a wonderful lady too.
She is. They're wonderful people, and I'm so happy that she's coloring your book because it looks amazing.
She does good stuff.
She's such good stuff.
Unbelievably amazing.
Thank God
Yeah.
she never sleeps and works on 10 different comics a month, right?
Yeah.
I worry about that.
I worry
but
about her too.
also
I think we all do.
But how does she do that many comics without any drop in quality at all?
Well, when I stayed with her for a grand total of like 3 days, she slept a grand total of about 12 hours.
that's so sad.
She was working on pages. I hope she never listens to this and gets mad at me for saying it, but she was like working on pages and then went down for a 2-hour nap and set an alarm and then got up and started working again.
I know she is out of control.
But she loves it, you know?
Yeah, she must.
I don't know. I think she's actually.
I don't want her to have a heart attack.
The last time I
that's all.
talked to her, she said she was scaling it back to be a lot more manageable.
Yeah,
which is
that's what
good.
she said to me last year too.
Yeah.
Jordy, take
Jordy,
care of your health.
be good. Keep
Keep to
going.
yourself above all others.
So do either of you have any conventions or appearances coming up within the next little while?
No, I'm going to Thought Bubble
Yeah.
definitely this year, but other than that, I haven't got anything lined up. I was thinking about trying to go over to New York this year, but it just depends on money and other things.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
and also, I think you have to book it way in advance. I've never been to an American con before, so
It's tiring. New York
Yes.
is kind of one of the worst and the best. Like it's the worst in terms of being able to. It really. I hate it. I'm trying to make it sound better. You meet every single person you would want to meet at a Comic Con, but it is horrible.
yeah. Well, the main reason I want to go is just to see people.
Yeah. Go to Emerald City. I mean, that's really far for you, but it's. I mean, you can't now because it's like in a month. But you should try it next year because it is the best.
Yeah, I always mean to go. I've never been there, but I hear great
Emerald
things.
City
yeah.
rules. I'm so excited.
I don't have any conventions planned this year. I do usually do Heroes. I don't know if I'm going to do it this year
Yeah,
though,
I don't think I
because
can
I've
do it
done
this year.
I've done the last 5 or 6 in a row, so I feel like people might be sick of me by now there. So maybe
I don't
I'll
think
maybe
that's
I'll
true.
wait a year. I don't know. I hope that I can do Boston Comic Con, my hometown show, but it's the week before I get married, so I might be a little busy. I might be busy. I'm not sure. I'm going to just predict that I'll be puking all the time at that point.
That seems fair.
As someone who is married, you will be of no use to anyone the week before.
Okay. Yeah. So probably not that. Yeah. So I don't have any conventions planned this year. So if you want to see me, dear readers, you're just going to have to close your eyes and imagine a world where I am at shows.
Well, it's good. It's good. I think it's you're getting married. That's fine. You're working and getting married. That's
not just that. It's just that, whatever.
All the stuff.
Nobody's invited me. Because I refuse to be on their Women in Comics panels.
Ooh. Emerald City I'm on, and it's one of those things that like I couldn't put it online, but I feel like I can say it quickly in the podcast because this is going to be a week later. We're recording early, and you're listening to it later. And the Kitchen number 4 will be out now, which is exciting. But I'm on like at least 5 panels at Emerald City, and none of them are women in comics.
I am so excited and proud for you. That's amazing.
We're doing, the Valkyries panel is the thing that I'm so excited about because we made it.
Okay, but that is
started
like
from the bottom. Now we're here.
That's a women in comics.
But it's a society. It's not just like you're here because you're a woman in comics. You're here because you're part of
it is
the Valkyries.
Like skull and bone or whatever.
It is like the Skull and Bones. Completely. And Kelly Sue's going to moderate it, so it's going to be super aggressively giant sparkly middle finger feminist panel. And Kieran and I are doing a None More Goth panel, so that's going to be completely insufferable. So that'll be great.
Very nice.
I can't wait. So Ming, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh, you can usually find me at Ming Doyle on Twitter, Tumblr Ming Doyle, any social media platform you can think of. I'm Ming Doyle on it.
Ollie?
You can find me at Ollie Masters on Twitter. I think I have a Tumblr, but I don't think I've updated it since last year.
Very nice.
Ollie.
Yeah, I'm really bad for that sort of stuff.
You're good on the Twitter, though. You're always on the Twitter. You're keeping up that presence.
Yeah, I guess because that's just almost like verbal diarrhea just coming out, whereas Tumblr, you kind of self-edit, and then because you're self-editing, you go, oh, that's just crap. Why am I putting that in there?
Yeah.
Other than that, no, it's pretty much just Twitter, actually. I try and keep a vaguely low profile, like Facebook's just personal stuff, and yeah.
That's cool.
I'm weirdly a shy person for someone who talks so much.
You're a man of mystery. You're keeping the mystique and the aura crackling and full of interest.
People be like, who is that? Who's Ollie? What's his deal?
Who's that masked man? Yeah. Who even knows? What's the deal with Ollie? Does anyone even know what the deal is with him? I heard he lived in a tower.
Is he even real? Is she really going out with him?
I don't think so. I don't know. I think that she just invented him to seem cool, but whatever. She has some pictures, but like, how do we know that that's even a guy? She said it could be any guy.
Well, I will let
we just started role-playing a world in which you didn't exist.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I had to cut that off. I felt like we were going to really hurt him.
It was like a weird existential nightmare.
That's my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who you are, and you're amazing.
Yes, and
I've really enjoyed working with you on the kitchen. And I'm so glad that you've enjoyed it, Kate. It's really
so great. I've pushed it on
good.
So many people as it was pushed on me. I think the funny thing is, I think you mentioned it to me at Heroes, like the first inkling of it, and then I didn't hear about it for a while, and because there's so many comics to keep track of, I just kind of lost track of it. And then someone, when I was still working in the comic book store, mentioned to me that it was coming out, and I was like, "What? What? There's a Ming Doyle thing I don't know about? How is this possible?" And then immediately looked it up and was very excited. And so, yeah, no, I just want everybody to get into it. It's just so cool to see such a wicked. I feel like is a really great word for it. Story with so many female characters that's so different. Like I can't really think of anything else that it's exactly like, which is such a good feeling in comics, which is great. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Ollie, I hope it gets picked up by a TV company and they turn it into a 3-season long affair, and that David Fincher
directs it. Yeah, that would be perfect.
Pile of cash.
That would be awesome.
Have that happen to you, okay? That'd be wonderful because it's that good. It deserves all the accolades. The story's ace. Yeah. I'm just trying to tell you that I like your writing a lot, Ollie. Take it.
Don't get mad, Ming.
Just take it.
You need to take a credit here, don't you?
Huh?
You need to take share of the credit here. It wouldn't be the book it was if it wasn't for you.
Oh, I guess so.
Well,
I
You
don't know.
guys.
You make it look amazing.
Everyone's great. You're both perfect.
Everyone's great and nothing hurts.
And if you're listening, you can, which of course you're listening because what would be the point of a podcast you're not listening to? You can pick out the first.
Another room.
Yeah. Tell everyone around you as well. You can pick up the first 4 issues of The Kitchen, and there are going to be 8, so you should add it to your pull list at a comic book store and pre-order. Right, guys? Always pre-order.
Yep.
Always pre-order.
Every time.
And keep
Always
this
pre-order.
keep this brilliant thing. Well, obviously it's going to keep going, but to the terrifying
bitter
conclusion.
end. Right.
And then I am sure. Do you know if it's going to be one book or will they split it up? Do you guys have any knowledge of that yet?
I would think it. I think it would be one, not when it's collected as a trade paperback. You mean?
Yeah.
I would assume it would be one. I think that if it were 2 volumes that were just 4 issues each, that would be kind of skimpy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll wait and see. Like, that's a while away. That's definitely a while away.
Yeah.
So you should go pick up the single issues. Ollie and Ming, thank you so much for doing this and putting up with my technical difficulties at the start. You were both great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope that you both have a wonderful weekend. I'd say Valentine's, but when you're listening to this, Valentine's has already happened. So I hope that you retroactively had a great Valentine's Day.
Thank you. And also, down with romance anyway, right, guys?
Yeah.
Boo.
It's
Yeah,
for
who needs
nerds.
it?
Yeah.
Nerds. Only nerds fall in love.
That feels like a really great note to end it on. Have a great day, guys.
Right.
Bye.
I know that you want into the pages inside my heart.
Well, that's our show. Thank you so much to Ming and Ollie for coming on and being unbearably charming. I'm headed back to the sunny coast of California to finally level up my Inquisitor and hopefully seduce Josephine at last. But I will be back in no time at all for more episodes, and hopefully will have finally caught up on my comics. Although, aren't we all saying that every day, forever? In the meantime, you can rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher. If you like this show and want to keep listening to my voice every week telling you just how beautiful you are, you can consider donating at villagesoundcast.com or through our Patreon at patreon.com/lessthanlive. I talk about the Patreon every episode, but seriously, you're getting access to cool behind-the-scenes stuff. We're finally starting to figure out how to use it. There's exclusives. You can get presents. I record audio things and visual things for you, and you get first crack at questions for both myself and the guests. And you usually get to find out who they are before people on the rest of the internet. So it's pretty cool. You can donate as little as $1 a month, and you help us keep doing what we're doing. So yeah, I don't mean to be one of those guys that's like harping on you, but it'd be nice. If you've got questions or want any more, you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter at LTLcast, and you can get show notes after every episode at lessthanlivecast.tumblr.com in case I talk too fast and you can't remember all the comics I recommended. Try some new comics in the meantime, eat lots of candy, be nice to your friends. I'll miss you.
Hey, Amnesia Forgetful Face. This was a Village Soundcast Network original production.
Powering through. Gotta go home and get dressed up like Taylor Swift.